All I can tell you is I enjoy preparing this class, although sometimes it's hard, because it's like, pass me a nut. Let me use a metaphor. Let's say I want to eat this walnut, but I can't crack the shell, and I really want to eat it. And I try and try, but I can't crack the shell. And it's delicious, but I can't crack the shell. That's what happens to me with the Zohar. I want to bring out what's hidden there, and I squeeze and squeeze, but I can't. But then, when I come here, after I've shelled it, and I give you the shelled nut, I do all the work of cracking the shell. Well, the story is as follows. We are still in the preliminary part of understanding the Zohar. What is the Zohar? The Zohar is knowledge that is not of this world. The Zohar is knowledge that is not of this world. Where there is the intervention of beings who are not from this world, who come to bring this information. In the preliminaries, we will see a lot of information in a somewhat scattered way. That is, it talks about one thing, then it goes to another, and another, and another. There are many topics all mixed up. But all of these topics, mixed up as they are the basis of the definitions that will help me later when I teach you, parasha by parasha, one by one. And we're not even in Bereshit yet. We're far from entering Bereshit. But what I can tell you is this. If I achieve my goal of conveying to you what I am studying in the Zohar, it is a delight that cannot be surpassed by any in this world, or the next, than the delight of discovering the secrets of the Zohar. At least I have a wonderful time, a very, very, very good time. I know many pleasures of this world, but this one surpasses them all. We'll see in these preliminaries. Now we will begin the class. It's November 13th, 2011, in the Yehiel Foundation. We're studying the preliminaries of the Zohar. It is the second class of preliminaries. I will be unraveling it, scroll by scroll. The Zohar is a series of scrolls, and we will be decoding them one by one. It is a huge, titanic effort. So what I wanted to say was, the last thing we spoke of was, if we meditate, we create events. The Zohar says the following, with Ma is written Mem He. Mem He, its numerical value is 45. Mem is worth 40 and He 5, just like the word Adam, which is worth 45. And Ma is a particle of the word Chokmah. Chokmah is the wisdom of the world of above. And Chokmah is Koach Ma, the strength of Ma, the strength of 45. That is the strength of Adam. What is the strength of Adam? Meditation. So it tells us that with Ma, the letters Mem and He, Ma is the world of below, which is manifested through the Hebrew letters, manifested letters. What does this mean? The world of below is a creation by a thought from above. There are people in this world, and this is on record, who can concentrate on a balloon or on a ball to the point that a physical ball appears on the table, for example. That is, thought can create matter. But for thought to be transformed into matter, you need a link, like a connector. Like with the TV, for example, between the TV and the video player, you need a connector, the Euro connector, a link-up cable. That cable is the Hebrew letters. So it says, Ma, the world of below, is manifested through manifested Hebrew letters. What are the Hebrew letters? We saw this in the course on Sefer Yetzirah. There are 22 letters that are divided into 12 signs of the zodiac, 7 planets, and 3 elements, called mother letters, called
Emesh.
Aleph, Mem, and Shin. Aleph is the air, Mem is water, and Shin is fire. So 7 plus 12 plus 3 are the 22 letters. That is the link that makes thought materialize. And here the Zohar tells us things that the Torah does not. That in itself is interesting. The question is, why does the Zohar tell us things that the Torah does not? Well, first, because the Torah, even though it seems like a narrative, is not a narrative. Though it seems like a series of stories, it is not a series of stories. The Torah is a code. It is a prophetic code that escapes time. That is, that can prophetize what is going to happen within 10 years, or what is going to happen in 1 year, or what happened with names, surnames of people. It is all codified in the secret codes of the Torah. And the Tzaddikim tell us that the Torah is a succession of names of God. That is, a succession of strengths. So, though it seems that the Torah is a narrative, it does not tell us anything. That is the truth. It is a tremendous code. And it's good for us to listen to the reading
Of the Sefer Torah.
On Saturdays, Mondays, and Thursdays, because those codes, though we don't understand them rationally, our souls decode them, just like an optical eye or a pin scanner can decode a barcode. That is, our souls do understand that code, even though our physical, rational part does not. That's the Torah. Now then, the Zohar, although it is also the sum of codes and names of God, also tells us things. Starting with stories from the Torah, it tells us things in depth. And here, it tells us that 2,000 years before the creation of the world, the Hebrew letters were hidden, and Akadosh Baruch Hu, our Creator, looked at them and delighted in them. A delightful dish, the Hebrew letters. How can Hebrew letters be a delicious dish? And for God, that is, it's not so easy to give God delicious food. Well, Hebrew letters were a delicious dish for Akadosh Baruch Hu. Now, we're cracking the nut. Let's see what comes out of the nut until it opens. I've cracked it. I've destroyed my fingers, but I cracked it. So then, well, the Hebrew letters are the souls of the planets and stars, which are souls of great intelligence. And I've just told you this just like that. He created some souls that are not like ours. Those souls also have a body. The body of the planet envelops the soul of that planet, and the body of the star envelops the soul of that star. Just like our bodies envelop a soul. and a soul is no more than a combination of virtues or defects, because each of us is a combination, a safe. What's inside the safe? Virtues and defects. And the planets and the stars also have virtues and defects. But it so happens that the stars and planets only have virtues, which can become defects if we misperceive them. How can I explain this? Imagine a sunbeam. A sunbeam shining on a candle will melt the wax. A sunbeam shining on an egg will harden the egg. So it all depends on what I put in front of the sunbeam, but a sunbeam is always a sunbeam. So, 2,000 years before the creation of the world, the Hebrew letters were hidden, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu contemplated them and delighted in them. What does hidden mean? That they had no body. They were nude souls. There was no sun. There were no planets. There was no moon. There was no earth. There were no stars. There was no world. It was 2,000 years before the creation of the world. The world as we know it did not exist. Only the souls of what would later be the stars and planets. And those planets and stars were already speaking with Akadosh Baruch Hu. And that dialogue to Akadosh Baruch Hu was a delight. And those souls transformed for us into a hieroglyphic, which is the Hebrew letters, that our souls interpret and decode to get into contact with the souls of planets and stars. That is, they are our connection cable to the souls of the planets and stars. So Hebrew letters are not a normal alphabet. They are a code that elevates our awareness to put us in contact with the planets and stars. When he wanted to create the physical world, says the Zohar, the Hebrew letters presented themselves to Akadosh Baruch Hu in inverse order. That is, if our alphabet goes from Aleph and ends with Taf, the letters presented themselves in inverse order from the Taf to the Aleph. The question is, can human beings really know these things? Why? How can a human being know what happened 2,000 years before the creation of the world? How could Rabbi Bar Shimon Yochai, author of the Zohar, know these things? There is no other solution than the existence of an intelligence from outside the earth who came to tell him. And we do know something about this. There are intelligences external to the earth that intervene on the earth. Where do these intelligences come from? They definitely do not come from any physical world. Why not? Because they're talking about what happened 2,000 years before the physical world was created. So they come from parallel dimensions where there is no physical world. We're not going to be talking about extraterrestrials, but of beings from parallel dimensions, not from the physical world or known planets, but parallel dimensions. And they come to teach mankind, to Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, and teach man how the world was created. Then came Eliyahu Hanavi, the prophet of Elias, who added. Then came Moses, who added. But Eliyahu Hanavi and Moses died a long time ago, 3,000 years ago, and they appeared in the cave of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and began to tell him things that no man could know. That's why I'm having such a good time. I don't need to go to any science fiction movies. I have it all in the Torah. It's very interesting. You must understand one thing. In which of our circumstances do we see images in reverse, the mirror? Exactly. And how else? The eye, which sees everything in reverse. When else? When do we see things in reversed order? When we're upside down? In a photo, in a negative. Everything is inverted. The question is, are we the positive or the negative? How does our alphabet go? From Aleph to Tav, doesn't it? How did the letters appear to God? From the Tav to the Aleph. So what are we? The reflection? The reflection, because is the reflection facing front or reversed? So what are we? The reverse. Goodness, what we've just discovered. We're reversed beings. And everything we see is reversed. And everything we know is reversed. And all our actions are reversed. And so it goes for us. No, no. No? What do you mean, no? The letters were presented to Akadosh Baruch Hu in inverse order from how we read them. And I'll also give you a key to the Torah. It begins with the letter Bet and ends with the letter Lamed. And why does it begin with the letter Bet and end with the letter Lamed? 346,000 letters later? Because it forms the word Lev. Lev means heart. But no, if it starts with Bet and ends with Lamed, it would be Bal. But no, it's Lev. You have to read from the last to the first letter. In other words, to understand the heart, you have to read it backwards. And in the word Bereshit, and this is in advance of something I'll explain much later, within the word Bereshit, do you know what the word Bereshit is? It's the first word of the Torah. Poorly translated as in the beginning. But Bereshit is two words. It is Shabbat Re'i, the mirror. What does Re'i mean in Hebrew? The mirror of Shabbat. So be careful. The word mirror is already in the first word of the Torah. So we have an initial code. So if the world has been created with Bereshit, and in that word of Bereshit is the word mirror, it's clear that we are a mirror, reversed. So, the letter Tav appeared before Akadosh Baruch Hu, the last letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and said to Akadosh Baruch Hu, create the world with my intelligence. Because I am in the word emet, which is truth. And God said, no, I'm not going to create the world with you, because your letter is also in the word mavet, which is death. And I'm not going to create a world with death. So the letter Taf left. These are dialogues between the letters and God. In other words, they are intelligences. We're seeing how this dialogue works. The letters Resh, Kuf, and Shin appeared before God, and each of them said, please, create the world with my intelligence. And God said, I'm not going to do that, because the Shin, the Kuf, and the Resh are all in the word Sheka, lie, and I'm not going to create the world with a lie. The letters Kuf, Resh, and Shin all left. Sheker, a lie. The letter Tzadi presented itself to God. I'm taking the letters from last to first and going up. Tzadik told Akadosh Baruch Hu, create the world with my intelligence, because I am the initial of the word Tzadik. And God said, I can't. Why can't I? Do you know? Why? Why couldn't he create the world with the letter Tzadi? If anyone knows, tell me. Because Tzadi supports the world. No. He said, it's true that you are the first letter of the Tzadik, but you are made up of two letters, Yud and Nun. Yes, but where's the problem? Tzadi is written thus. It is written thus. And it's the initial of the word Tzadik, or righteous. But as Tzadi is made up of a Yud, do you see? and a bint nun, God said, these two letters will be fighting each other all day. They don't understand each other. Why is that? Because the Yud, what Sephirah does it represent? All you who have been students of mine for a long time, Chokmah. And what is Chokmah? Meditation, the spiritual world, the front-facing world. What door is Nun? Door 50, Binah. Binah is the rational. How does that work? Backwards. So if Yud, which is meditation, the spiritual world, faces front, and Nun, which is rational, works in reverse order because it is the mirror, showing the world as we know it reversed, we can't mix what is front-facing with what is reversed. So there is a conflict here. They won't understand each other. So Tzadi left. Look how Akadosh Baruch Hu gets on with his letters. So there's a conflict between Chokmah and Binah? Yes, because one is in the front-facing world and the other in the reversed world. Let's continue. Because intellect works with all five senses, and meditation does not. It works with the soul, which is extrasensorial senses. The letter Pe, the mouth, Pe means mouth, appeared and said to Akadosh Baruch Hu, create the world with me. And God said, no, because you are the initial of the word Pesha, sinner. And the letter Pe left. The letter Ayin appeared and said, create the world with me. And God said, no, because you are the initial of the word Avon, crime. And so then Ayin had to leave. The word Samech appeared. The letter Samech said, I am the initial of the word Samech, support. I am the one who supports. But God said, I can't use you because you're sustaining the letter Nun, which means Nephilah, to fall. So the Samech is responsible for the fallen. Therefore, the support is concerned with the fallen, and you cannot be concerned with creating the world. You're already occupied with that. So Samech and Nun left. The letters Mim, Lamed, and Chaf all appeared to create the world. And God said no, because together you will create the world Melech, king, and you will be busy enough creating the figure of the king. The letters Yud, Che, and Bav all appeared, and God said no, because that's my name, Yud, He, Vav, He. You are my sacred name. You can't be occupied with creating the world. You already have your role. The letter Tet appeared and said, I am the initial of the word Tov, good. Why don't you create the world with what is good? God said no. That will be the future world when the Messiah arrives. That will be the good world. So it is not your time yet. It was like a ping-pong match between the letters, the celestial intelligences, and Akadosh Baruch Hu. The letter Het and the letter Tet appeared and said to Akadosh Baruch Hu, create the world with us. And he said no, because together you form the word Chet. Chet is sin. In fact, you'll see that there is no letter Chet nor any letter Tet in the names of the 12 tribes, because the 12 tribes have no sin. The sons of Yaakov. The letter Zayin appeared and said to Akadosh Baruch Hu, listen, create the world with me. And God said, no, because you have the shape of a sword. The letter Zayin is written thus. The grip and the blade. And God said, no, because you are an instrument of war. I don't want to create a world with war. The letter Gimel appeared. The letter Gimel is the initial of the word Gomelet, which means to nurse. And God said, I can't use you. You're occupied with the letter Dalit. Dalit comes from the word Dal, poor. That is, he who gives must give to he who has not. If a rich person is occupied giving to the poor, he can't be occupied creating the world. So, neither Gimel nor Dalet were called upon. Then the letter Bet appeared, and God said, "With you, yes. With you, I will create the world." The other letters said, "What? What just happened? What do you have that we don't?" He said, "I'm the initial of the word beracha, blessing. So what?" The letter Bet said, "I have a secret, and I'll draw it for you." The letter Bet is wonderful. The letter Bet, if you look, you'll see that it's made up of two horizontal lines and one vertical line. That's the letter Bet. What is the upper horizontal line? The spiritual world. And what is the lower horizontal line? The material world. And where are they joined? On the right, which is the Hesed. And so, a letter that enables us to join the two worlds with the Hesed. And God said, if you're going to join the two worlds with Hesed, that is, with mercy, then I will use you. And the Torah begins with the letter Bet. And Aleph did not appear before God. And God said, "Why haven't you appeared before me?" And he said, "Why should I? If you've rejected all the others, why should you choose me?" And God said, "As you are the most humble of all, you will be the initial of my name. Because my name is Eye, I am that I am." Eye begins with the letter Aleph, so he used it to form the name of God. And here we conclude the story of the Zohar, of the dialogue of its letters that were the delight of Akadosh Baruch Hu, with its letters, all of the letters of the alphabet with Akadosh Baruch Hu. How can we know all this? I'd like to know. Does any nation, does any people have any idea of this? This was before the Big Bang. All the physicists of the world can say, we can explain the world as of a fraction of a second after the Big Bang, but we cannot explain the Big Bang or what happened before. Well, maybe we can in this class or the next. We'll see. The Torah begins with 4 words. Bereshit bara Elohim et. Then it goes on, Hashemayim be'et aretz. Bereshit bara begins with 2 words, the initials of which are Bet. Bereshit bara. In the beginning, he created. Bereshit begins with Bet. Bara begins with Bet. But the initials of the next 2 words, Elohim et, Bereshit bara Elohim et. What is the initial of Elohim? Aleph. And what is the initial of the word et? Aleph. So in the first 4 words of the Torah, we have Bet, Bet, Aleph, Aleph. We're already going backwards. Shouldn't it be Aleph, Aleph, Bet, Bet? Doesn't A come before B? No, it starts with B and then goes to A. Why? Why doesn't it begin with Aleph and end with Bet? Why does it begin with Bet and end with Aleph? Because, he said, nothing moves in the world of above if you don't move the world of below. If you don't pull the cord, the bell doesn't ring. So, if I use the Hebrew letters, which are down here, I will activate the celestial, stellar, and astral intelligences up there. Because the Hebrew letters are the keyboard with which I activate the divine software, which are the astral intelligences. Later, if I learn what Hebrew letter corresponds to this planet or that star, then I will begin to use the software of Akadosh Baruch Hu, his program, the program that creates events in this world. Whenever you get a computer as a gift, you're happy. If you get a tablet as a gift, you're happy. If you get a PC as a gift, you're happy. If you get a
mobile phone,
you're happy. If you get a 3D TV, you're happy. Do you know what Akadosh Baruch Hu has given us? He has given us the cosmic computer with all its stars, planets, and intelligences. And he has said, here, play with this. And do you think that the letters agree with that? But when were the stars created in the Torah? On what day? The fourth day. And when was man created? The sixth day. But it is known that what is created later encompasses whatever was created previously. So if I say that first the mineral world and then the plant world was created, the plant world encompasses the mineral world. And if the animal world was created after the plant and mineral worlds, then the animal world encompasses the plant and the mineral worlds. And if the stars were created on the fourth day, that encompasses the entire previous world, mineral, plant, and animal. And we know that animals are guided by instinct. When the stars say, go into heat, they go into heat. When the stars say, don't be in heat, then they are no longer in heat. And when the stars say, hibernate, they hibernate. And when the stars say, do not hibernate, they come out of hibernation. Stars command animals. But when was man created? On the sixth day. And what does the sixth day encompass? What was included on the fifth day? The aquatic world. And what was created on the fourth day? The astral and stellar world. That is, the stars were created before man. So man encompasses all the entire previous creation. Stars must obey us, not we them. So what is this about karma? That stars tell us what we have to do? No, sir. I get on the keyboard and tell the stars what they have to do, not what I have to do at their orders. I'm not going to follow animal instinct. I will follow my own intelligence and wisdom. That is why Bereshit bara bet bet Elohim et aleph aleph. I move the keys down here, and then the forces of above will move. It's interesting. Now I will give you two keys. One of the interpretations of the word Bereshit. If we split the word Bereshit in two, we get the word bara and the word sheet. Bara means create, and sheet means six. Six in Aramaic. Bereshit, created six. What is the six? Six is the four cardinal points, up and down. The world with volume, as we know it, in other words. But Bereshit, its numerical value is 913, just like the word itbonenut, meditate. Wait a minute. If Bereshit is Barashit, created matter, and it is also meditate, it means that I can create matter through meditation. And what does the Zohar say? That the world exists thanks to the mystery of Chokhmah. What is Chokhmah? I said it a moment ago. What is Chokhmah? It's meditation. So the world exists thanks to the mystery of meditation. Who created the world? Akadosh Baruch Hu. So Akadosh Baruch Hu meditates. He is a meditator. Adam and Chava in the Garden of Eden wanted to be like God. They wanted to be meditators and creators. Now I will read an extraordinary passage from the Zohar. Let's see if we can crack the nut. It says, the world of above is a palace of creation with a single lock. And that lock has but one key, and that key is Bereshit. And what did we say Bereshit was? Bara Shit, created 6. And it's also Itbonenut, meditate. That is, if you want to enter that world of above, there is a single lock and a single key, which is meditation. So here we have a person before Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, named by Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, who was Abraham, the father of the 3 monotheistic religions. That is, Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. And he says, when they were created, referring to creation, and Rabbi Shimon said, just a moment, when they were created. How is that said? It is said, Be'i bara in Hebrew. And Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai said, you're not reading it correctly. Instead of Be'i bara, read Be Abraham.
In
Abraham. Because Abraham meditated and created. That is why he was able to overcome the 10 tests, because the physical world obeyed him. And Abraham is the numerology of the angel Raziel. Raziel is the angel of secrets, 248, which coincidentally matches the words of the Shema. But the word bara, which is created, is the permutation of the word eber. And what is eber? Because eber is the root of the word Hebrew. What is a Hebrew? One who is eber. Eber means from the other side. From the other side of what? I have already said. There is a reversed world and a front-facing world. And Abraham was in the front-facing world. So he had to go to the other side. And a Hebrew is one who has the codes in hand to go to the other side. A Hebrew is not a Jew. Who is a Jew? A Hebrew. But who is a Hebrew? He who can meditate and go into the front-facing world and not stay in the world where things are reversed. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Bereshit is the key that encompasses everything. That is the secret of everything in the first word of the Torah, Bereshit. Because Bereshit is the key that opens or closes the access to the 6 Sefirot. What are the 6 Sefirot? The link, the connector between the world of above and that of below. And now, the Zohar text takes a leap, which, as I said, it mixes knowledge. It says, the Mashiach visits all of the celestial schools. What is that? I know the universities around here. I know the private schools. No, it says the celestial schools. So what is that? It says, the Mashiach visits all of the celestial schools and listens to the explanations of the mysteries given by the doctors of the law. And who are these doctors of the law? They are masters of secrets of a world that does not exist. Now I find out that there are universities on another plane of existence that is not this one. Well, let me sign up for that. I'd like a ticket to go and listen to those classes, wouldn't you? Do you know what hell is? Hell is the person who says, I want to get into the celestial university once he has finished his time in this world, when his soul has left and his body was buried, and all of that. The person says, I want to go into the celestial university, and God says, no, you haven't earned it yet. You're barred. You have to go back to earth and work because you're not entitled to enter this university. The suffering of the soul at not getting into the celestial university is equivalent to hell. That is hell. That is where the soul burns, but not in fire. It burns in sadness. And the Mashiach is a being who goes through all of the celestial universities and listens to all the secrets of the Torah in all of the celestial universities. Lucky, huh? Then Rabbi Shimon says, Akadosh Baruch Hu, blessed be his name, hears the voice of those who apply themselves in the study of the Kabbalah. That is, many people petition and are not heard. But he who studies the Kabbalah petitions and is heard. The Zohar says so. Akadosh Baruch Hu hears the voice of those who apply themselves in the study of the Kabbalah, of the law. Of the law. But I wrote it down where it appears that the law, I've written it down, but it's much later in the text. No, in the Zohar, in the Vayet Hanan, and in more places. Look, it says, he who is devoted to justice, and justice is the secrets of the esoteric doctrine. A righteous man is he who teaches the Kabbalah. That is what the Zohar says. It's on page 94. But that is a class that will come some time from now. It says that the earth is constantly being renewed. If not, it would die. Who renews it? The renewal of the earth is thanks to the words pronounced by man who possesses in himself new concepts about the Kabbalah. Every time a Hidush comes out, Hidush in Hebrew comes from the word Hadash, something new. Every time something new is taught about the mysteries of creation, that leads the world to renew. Just like old skin flakes off and new skin appears, so goes the world. The world regenerates itself. Now then, pay attention to what Akadosh Baruch Hu says to Rabbi Shimon, and he also said it to the patriarchs. He says, I have put my words in your mouth, and I have covered you in the shadow of my hand, that I may plant the heavens and lay the foundations of the earth. What does that mean? Bring mercy down from heaven to earth. What is the goal of God in this world? What is the mission of God in this world? Using the patriarchs and using the righteous? Just one. The goal is to bring mercy down from the world of above to that of below. That is the bar to the right on the letter bet. If the bar were on the left, it would be to bring rigor down. But since it is on the right, it brings mercy down. That is, the world of above is a storehouse full of mercy, blessing, fulfillment of everything, fulfillment of love, fulfillment of money, fulfillment of health, fulfillment of well-being, fulfillment of family, fulfillment of fertility for sterile women, fulfillment, all the forms of fulfillment you can imagine. What is this world? It's a world of deficiencies. It has nothing. It's an empty world. I have put my words in your mouths and covered you in the shadow of my hand, that I may plant the heavens and lay the foundations of the earth. and bring mercy down from heaven to earth. In other words, what is the great objective of this world? To open the storehouses of mercy in the front-facing world and bring that fulfillment down to this world where there is nothing, a world in crisis. And now we must ask a question. Why are there deficiencies of poverty, of discomfort, of disease, of war, of torture? Why is there abuse by people of children, child prostitution? Why? There are several questions. Why? It's because the lock has not been opened with the key. The lock of the great storehouse, where all the well-being is kept, is locked, and it does not come down. Now I ask, what is that key? Meditation. I have said it, haven't I? But do you see the world meditating? Do people get up and start meditating? In school, do kids meditate? Besides criticizing their neighbors, what do people do? My master told me once, he said, let's play a game. Okay, I said. Let's make a microchip that records people's conversations, and we'll hide it under the wing of a fly. And then we'll get the fly to go from table to table in an outdoor cafe where people are having their coffee, Coca-Cola, potato chips, olives, all that. And we'll get that fly to go from table to table. No one will pay attention to it, but it will be recording those conversations. And then we'll listen to the conversations. And you know what the people were talking about? John criticizing Joe, Joe criticizing John, and everyone criticizing everyone else. But when do they meditate? We have the wrong key. We're using the wrong key. Well, let's take a break and then we'll do our meditation. Meditation is the key of all forms of fulfillment. But I don't know if you remember the class I gave on Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year. In the Rosh Hashanah class, I taught that on Rosh Hashanah there is a cosmic alignment in which those locks open, the locks to the great storehouses of a dimension holding fulfillment of everything, open. And we can absorb blessings of everything for our physical well-being on our physical earth. So, the first of the meditations we must do is, even though the day of Rosh Hashanah is past, we must go to the day of Rosh Hashanah in a time machine. And we will get into the time machine and go to the day of Rosh Hashanah. That is, the moment in which the doors to the Garden of Eden were opened. The question is, how is it possible to time travel? Can anyone answer me? In meditation, there is no time or space. You're in a dimension in which you can act outside those two parameters. The first thing we must know is what is trapped in time is the body. And what is not trapped in time is consciousness. The proof is we can remember. Remember is traveling back in time, or we can plan. Planning is to travel forward in time. I can plan a wedding 3 months from now. Then I am projecting forward. Or I can remember a wedding that was already held. Then I'd be traveling back in time. What month is Rosh Hashanah? The month of Tishri. The month of Tishri has a permutation with a name of God, which is Vav He Yud He. I'll spell it for you. I'll write it. The name of God is Yud He Vav He, but it has 12 permutations, one for each month of the year, and there are 12 months. And the one for Tishri, which is the moon of Libra, the astrological sign of Libra, is Vav He Yud He, with these Hebrew vowels. Patach on the Vav, Cholam on the He, Kamatz on the Yud, and Patach on the final He. Patach, Cholam, Kamatz, and Patach. Well, that is the name of God of Rosh Hashanah, the month of Tishri. There are 2 He's then? Yes, you have Vav He, Yud He. And it would be pronounced Vaho Yaha. Vaho Yaha. What would this be? Meditation to connect at the time in which the gates to the Garden of Eden are open. That is, there's nothing to open. It's already open. Yes. Then, the meditation that comes after that would be that of the blessing we want to bring from the other plane, the world where things are front-facing. If you want, I can give you the name of God for money, since we're in a crisis. This is the name of money, Di Carnosa. So, let's go to the open safe. Aren't you missing a resh? Yes. Dalet Yud, Kuf Resh, Nun Bav, Samich Aleph. This is the name that is meditated on Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah to make the Parnassah. Yes, with the Psalm Yehi Ratzon, that name appears. After the Kuf, then what? Kuf Resh Nun Vav Samich Aleph. Dalet Yud Kuf Resh Nun Vav Samich Aleph. Does everyone have this code? This is like a barcode that the soul understands perfectly, that activates the consciousness of the person to go to the spirit world and bring the energy of money. It's not money, but the energy of money that will later transform into whatever business. Yes. Dalet Yud, Kuf Resh, Nun Vav, Samich Aleph. The first is to connect on the day of Rosh Hashanah. The second is to bring the energy of money. In this case, we could bring the energy of health or whatever we want. This is just a model, an example. The problem is, once we've taken the ingredient from the Garden of Eden, we have to bring it down here. We have to manifest it here. That is why we need the name of God, which is Zayin Rampin, which is the connector, and connected to the name of God that receives. If the connector is Yud He Vav He, and the receiver is Aleph Dalet Nun Yud, so now we'd have to meditate Yud Aleph He Dalet Vav Nun He Yud. Yud. Does everyone understand the process? This last part of linking the Yud He Vav He with Adonai. So the name in the middle can be anything. It can be this one. It can be Mem He Shin, that of health. It can be Yud Zayin Lamed, to have children. Any of the 72 names could be used, whatever we put here in the middle. But first, we connect with the energy of Rosh Hashanah, then we bring the ingredient we need, then we manifest it in the physical world. That's it. Checkmate. So, as you meditate on the first name, we'd already be in Rosh Hashanah. We're before the open door, not in Rosh Hashanah, before the open door, because it connects us with the consciousness of a cosmic energy aligned for the gates of the Garden of Eden to be open. If not, they are locked. It's divine engineering, all of this. So if anyone doesn't understand the procedure, I'll explain it again from the beginning. Is anyone lost? Yes. Okay. Let's start with the upper name. Do you understand that one? That's a lot. Did you understand the name in the middle? No. Any name works to achieve what you need. What do you want? Do you want money, health, whatever? That's the name of money. But we should always do it for someone else, right? Because if you do it for yourself, it's not... Well, I once heard someone say that it was a sin to be poor. Why? Because you can't help others. You can't help anyone. Now, if your intention is to have money just for yourself, then yes. But if you want wealth to help the poor, just like we said, the Gimel helps the Dalet, they go together. So it could be done for the entire world to reestablish. It can be done at the scale that you want. We're doing it for ourselves now to be able to help others. Otherwise, how could you help others? And as a man of the Hebra once said to me, he gave me a blessing and said, always be on the side of the person who gives. To be on the side of the person who gives, to be on the giving side, you have to have something to give. And to do so, you have to use the name of God, and not depend on a man giving you money, or a human being helping you. You must depend only on divine energy. And then, we have the key for the divine energy to give to us. Then, we don't have to ask anyone for charity. We don't have to depend on human beings. We just have to depend on divine energy. That's all. And if that is how we see it here, wouldn't it be the case that in the world of above they see the opposite? No. The opposite is already in place. It'd be the same. The front-facing world is in accordance with the world of above. And if you saw there, Vav He Yud He, would it be the opposite? Would it be Vav He on the part below and Yud He the part above? It would be Yud He, then Vav He. They'd be inverted. Okay. The third one now. Do you remember how we drew the tree of life? We put the name Yud He Vav He. Yud was Keter Chokmah, He was Binah, Vav was...
Zerampin.
And the final He was Malchut. Does that sound familiar? Yes. So we need the tube that brings the blessing. It's Yud He Vav He. Yud He Vav He alternating. One yes, one no. And it's linked with Aleph, Dalet, Nun, Yud. For you to understand it easier, I'll tell it to you in a different way. That's it. Give me a bottle, please. Imagine that I want to drink water. I'd need 3 things. First, that there be water. Because if I'm in the desert and there's no water, right? So, the existence of water is this name. The open door to the storehouse where the water is kept. So, I have a bottle with water. I've opened it, it exists. I'm not in Biafra where there is not a single drop of water. The water is there. Then I would need 3 things. I need a recipient to hold the water, that I must tip to pour out the water, that is the bottle. I need the water, physically, and then I need a glass in which to put it, right? Well, this is Adonai, Aleph, Dalet, Nun, Yud. The bottle is Yud, He, Vav, He. And the water that falls from Yud, He, Vav, He into Adonai is the Dikanosa that I've just written. If I'm missing the glass, the tube, or the ingredient, I won't be able to drink the water. How about now? Yes or no? Yes. Now, in my drawing, the first name means that water exists. The second name is the water. Yud, He, Vav, He, linked here, is the bottle. And Aleph, Dalet, Nun, Yud, Adonai is the glass. So now I have it all. Now do you get it? You can explain it very well through plumbing. The thing is, explain from Kabbalist to Kabbalist you can't understand. But with a little example, it's easily understood. Very easily. It's true. It's amazing. It's amazing how you can explain it with plumbing. It's all a plumbing thing. They're all tubes and pipes. Good. Let's put our feet parallel to each other on the floor. With your hands on your knees, with the palms of your hands facing up. And we'll take 3 deep breaths to free ourselves of the tension and stress of the day. Now, we project ourselves into a golden star of David. And a large golden star of David appears in front of us, the size of this room, where we'll write the 3 names I have here on the board. We'll call the letter Vav, which appears in white in the golden star of David. That acts as a screen for us. We illuminate it. We call the letter He. We illuminate it. We call the letter Yud. And we illuminate it. We call the letter He. And we illuminate it. Underneath these, we write the name of money, of the Parnassah. We call the letter Dalet, we illuminate it. We call the letter Yud, we illuminate it. We call the letter Kuf, we illuminate it. We call the letter Resh, we illuminate it. We call the letter Nun, and we illuminate it. We call the letter Vav, and we illuminate it. We call the letter Samech, and we illuminate it. And we call the letter Aleph, and we illuminate it. Now we have two illuminated names, Ba'o Yaha and Dikarnosa. Now we write underneath them another name on the same screen. We call the letter Yud, we illuminate it. We call the letter Aleph, we illuminate it. The letter He, we illuminate it. We call the letter Dalet, we illuminate it. We call the letter Vav, we illuminate it. We call the letter Nun, we illuminate it. We call the letter He, we illuminate it. We call the letter Yud, we illuminate it. And we have Yud Aleph, He Dalet, Vav Nun, He Yud, all illuminated. Now we have the three names illuminated. Ba'o Yaha, Dikarosa, Yud Aleph, He Dalet, Vav Nun, He Yud, all illuminated. The entire screen is illuminated, and light comes out like a beam of light from the three names toward us in a straight line, not through the upper tips. The first name comes toward our foreheads, a beam of white light. The second name comes toward our hearts, and the third name comes toward our livers. The first name penetrates the brain and illuminates it. The second name penetrates the heart and illuminates it. And the third name penetrates the liver and, once penetrated, illuminates it. Now we have the brain illuminated with Ba'o Yaha, the heart illuminated with Dikarnosa, and the liver illuminated with Yud Aleph He Dalet Vav Nun He Yud. We are the recipients of this energy. Now we form a chorus. And we will place the planet Earth in the middle. And we will project this light of abundance onto this world, which has deficiencies. Because the divine project is to bring abundance down to this world of deficiencies. And we unite the world of above with the world of below on the side of the Chesed. And then a beam of light comes out of our foreheads, a beam of light from our hearts, and a beam of light from our livers, and they will converge on the earth, which is rotating. And each of us, as we form the chorus, projects these light beams onto the earth, which is rotating, and is in the middle of our chorus. Now, the earth is covered with a silvery mist, as silvery and bright as the silver of a full moon when we look at it. And the earth is lit up with this silvery color, which is the color of money. And people too are enveloped in this silvery mist. Bringing an end to deficiency with financial abundance. Now, let's take 3 deep breaths. Again. Again. And we open our eyes. Well, besides doing the meditation like you, I received the message that this is the divine project, to bring mercy down to the world. We're carrying it out, the divine project, to bring the world of above to that of below through chesed, because we're opening doors that had been closed by others. Okay, that's all.